United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, welcome to the November 18th, 2020 meeting. Let the record show that all three commissioners are here and our auditor. As usual, we have a window of opportunity for anybody that's not on the agenda that has something that they want to bring up or questions or whatever. Anybody got anything on that?
I got one.
Go ahead.
I found out this week or the last couple of days that the contractor, the deal we have with the hospital and the morgue out there, that we'll need, we can't do that work ourselves. We're gonna have to have a contractor do it because they have to send a plan from an engineer to the state.
Okay.
So it's one of those deals where it's not gonna be a big, it probably costs more for the engineering fee than it would be for the construction of two walls and some plumbing, so. But anyway, I'm gonna get with somebody this week and try to get an estimate, and then I'll bring it back to the board, so.
Sounds good.
But the equipment for the corner has been ordered, the cooler, the tables, all this stuff is, the council approved it, and it's ordered.
Okay.
So, anyway, that's all I got. Is that oil?
That's a coffee pot. Yeah.
They just should turn it on.
Yeah, she did. All right, we'll move right on into the agenda. First thing up is our highway department update. Community crossing grant.
I've got a few things. The slide on Liberty Knob Road that we got the grant for, it's done, but in order to pay for it, since it was actually a USDA grant, I have to have your signature on this claim so I can turn it into the auditor's office to be paid. The council's already covered the match. I mean, it's a done deal. They just have to have your signature to finish it.
Okay. I hear a motion to allow me to sign this.
I'll make a motion to sign.
Second? I'll make it unanimous and sign it then. How's that? I need to print it, or you gonna type it in?
No, please print. The next thing is, we had asked a while back if we had heard or what the status was of the state putting in all the culverts on Hardy Lake Road. I got a call this week and they are still proceeding with putting those in. There's 14, but in order to do so, and I really want you to read this, because in order to do so, Frontier is going to be moving a lot of their lines. So it has to have your signature, but I definitely want you to see that there's buried copper cable located on the west side of Hardy Lake. It'll have to be moved. There is a structure buried on the south of Burn Road and west of Hardy Lake. There's 2 boxes that they're going to move. So I mean, they're not going to, it's nothing to do with the road, but there is going to be a lot of work going on out there when they start these.
So they're doing that for precautionary, or they?
I would imagine it's probably in their structure's way. I would imagine it's in the new structure's way.
Because I'd say most of those culverts, well, they're going under the road. I mean, I wouldn't think that they'd be going under the road as well, so not on 14 culverts.
Do they, now that being a entrance into a state park, but it's a county road, are they going to repave that road when they're done?
Their agreement when they came in front of you all was not to repave it, but however, you could start the process of requesting.
Now, I thought they were gonna pay just the culvert part though.
They will.
They're patching
They'll-
up.
they're gonna-
That's what we
They're
were
gonna
complaining
patch it,
about.
that's
Yeah.
it. It'll still be a
You're gonna have
thump, thump, thump,
14
thump.
thumps going down that road.
Yes,
Yeah,
so, I mean, that
they're
needs,
just trying to help us.
Right.
I'm, again, I
Yeah.
don't understand why they didn't just slip line them. I don't know, I mean, I
I think we
never,
asked that.
yeah,
and,
that's,
and, yeah, that's been back a while and,
yeah,
you
I
know.
think the answer was it's cheaper to dig
yes,
it up.
that's correct. He did, that is correct. So anyway, I mean, they're gonna have to have this, so if you are going to approve it, I need your signature on the original. I just wanted you to have a copy of that, so you can see what they're
So
doing.
the utilities really is not, they're just telling us they're gonna move some stuff.
Yeah,
We don't have to contact
not-
these people, no,
no.
that's it up to them,
No.
right?
yeah. The engineering firm that led it will take care of everything. They just have to have your
Their time.
signature that they showed you. They
Yeah.
haven't told us when, but they told us it would take, 30 days to schedule the work crew. The earliest date when the utility could begin, depending on, they said the earliest work day it could begin is February 3rd of 2020. That's passed, obviously, so.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't know. I'm sure they've gotten pushed back like everything else with COVID.
But we don't know about the culverts.
No,
So will we get any type of advance?
we'll get a notice, yeah. Yeah. Actually, Bill Reed, which is a prior county employee, is one of the, people in this project. He's the utility and railroad engineer, so we keep in touch with him.
So I'm wondering where they're gonna move this buried copper cable to.
I think it tells you on, E. It says the proposed new cable for the structures will be placed north of the center line of Burn Road, and they have station markers. So they kinda tell you where they're getting ready to move them. Then it says
So
the
that-
proposed new cable for structure number 9 will be placed between 2 existing heads on the south side of Herod Road.
So if he's saying north of Burn, or at the center line, that line's buried under the road then.
20 feet north. He's putting the new cable, yeah, will be placed 20 feet north of the center line of Burn Road. Station marker 241+82.
20 feet north. No, that would
Of the
be,
center line, it'd be our right of way,
It'd be in the right
it'd
of
be in
way.
the
Yeah.
right of way.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So I need your signature on that original.
All right. Do we need a
But
motion?
there's
or
still
anything
not
on that?
any, I mean, I remember that meeting with the state, they were pretty much not budging at all
Yeah.
on paving the roads.
Yeah.
No.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made for the sign, you know,
But to go back to what Bob was saying, it's a county road, but they maintain it, correct?
It's a county road and we maintain it. It was gifted to us.
Okay.
the only thing that I will tell you, that, and I do know this, any road that leads into a state park, there is monies that's set aside for that road. Don't ever forget that.
Yeah.
You know.
Talking about grant money.
No.
No,
it's
their
their money. And
They
so
maintain it.
they'll
Even though they
maintain
couldn't.
it, you know, cause, I'll be honest, about May the 1st, I go out there and put up road closed signs, see what, they'll come see you real
Yeah, cause
quick.
they want,
They don't want, they ain't gonna want that closed down, you know.
Last thing is, I have requested to be put on the agenda for, well, I've talked to Katie Adams, which is my contact for the community crossing grant. She is hoping to announce the 2020-2 community crossing grant at the end of November, mid-December. Because they are opening up 2021-1 in January. And I am afraid, they've already got 2021-1 money set aside. So I'm afraid if we wait for the second round, that we might not be as fortunate. So I am asking if you all will approve, if the council approves, that I go for it in January.
So we're already got an application in for this last draw,
Yeah,
2020-2.
yes.
I don't really reason why we wouldn't go ahead. I mean,
Well, because they
Well, I
don't
mean, I
have
have to have
money.
your approval.
Because
yeah,
I think the last time.
I mean, I'm gonna ask the council, so if they say no, we're out.
Well, I think the last time, and my argument was, and I think everybody else was as well, is that to be able to get $1 million worth of paved road for $333,333.33,
Yeah,
you go borrow the money if you don't have it.
Right.
So, because you'll never get that done again, so.
and I think, are they December 8th? So I'll know December 8th and would come back to you all. But
And then you could play.
in order to do this, I mean, if you say yes tonight on your end, I'm gonna go ahead because,
yeah,
I mean, that's a
Are you
month
ready?
and a half of work that has to be turned in January.
but it's null and void if the council doesn't.
It's null and void
No.
if they say no, but I could still use it for 2021-2.
Okay.
But it's also.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm with Mike, I'm gonna, you find that money. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, when you're looking at, $1 million worth of paving for $333,000, you find that money.
Well, and I wanted to.
Whether you gotta borrow it or whatever.
If you do approve, I wanted to be able to have this with me when I go to them.
I
on
think
the
we're all
8th.
with you. I just trying to understand
Okay,
your process.
yeah. So I would have to have a motion, right?
Wait,
Motion.
second.
I'll make that unanimous.
The other
And-
part of that is, even if we get through this process, we may not get it.
Right,
So,
Right.
in turn, it may be null and void anyway.
yes,
I'm darn sure we won't get it if we don't apply.
yes.
Yes.
So anyway, with that being said, the paper that I gave you is the list that we would move forward with.
That's the January?
Yes.
Okay.
So I would, if you could look at it within
Oh,
the
you got it
next,
marked.
yeah, I've got it marked. Couple days, if you have a problem with it, let me know.
Okay, and, while we're still on that community crossing right there, again, I'm gonna thank you for what you've done. They ain't like they just mail us a check down here and say, here it is, you gotta go after it, and, we have been able to collect damn near $5 million, is that correct?
Before I came along,
And so, you know, with a cost that other counties is paying engineers to do the grant writing and not getting it, and you're basically doing it on your salary. So we certainly appreciate what you've done on that.
Well, the other part of that is that if we took our, I guess, the fuel tax and said you get your,
Yeah.
you know, 1.5 mile road for each district, you never get the mile, or the miles we paved. And like I said, I think it's a deal if we can get it for $333,000.
You gotta go after it. You
I
gotta
know
go after it.
I know there's still always places to be paved and places to be patched and holes. I get all that, but I will tell you, and I won't say which one, but I sent a district out to pick the roads and they struggled. I mean,
Well,
because there has been so much
Yeah,
paved.
well, I agree with that, because
So-
I've had, I know, Hardy Mill Road out there, I had a lady that, and you know who I'm talking
Yeah.
about, for 4 years,
Yeah.
every day she'd call me, hey,
Yeah.
so,
So
yeah,
anyway,
anyway.
I turned a letter in to Tammy today for and I did not lay it in front of you, I'm sorry, and I don't even think she printed it probably, but for Danny.
yes,
So
yes.
I didn't know if you wanna take over from there.
Danny is retiring.
Danny
and-
Pate.
Danny Pate.
Been with us
And-
21 years,
Yes,
sorry.
and, yeah, thank you for that. Been with us for 21 years, he is retiring, and so again, between now and January 1, I'm gonna name Tyler Peterson as the road boss for my district.
So that's immediate?
He will.
He's got,
Yeah.
Got that PTO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got that
yeah,
time
so
that,
yeah, he's heading
and
out.
that way they can go ahead
For
and,
him.
go
Yeah.
ahead, and you can go ahead and, post for, that position too, right?
Yes, yeah,
So-
yeah, contacted
So
Tammy
that's,
on that.
so, Tyler will be the road boss of District One, the rest of the year anyway.
That's a big loss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope
Lot
to
of
have him
experience.
up here, before the year's over, but,
Okay.
Danny Pate's been an excellent, excellent employee, and he's our contact guy. If you need a number for, I don't care if it's whatever utility of 15 years ago or whatever, Danny's got a folder, and so
He,
we've appreciated him.
I tell you, you know, very fortunate, of course, had two road bosses, basically Danny and Ed Pennington, when I first come on, and, I tell you what, them guys, they didn't miss a beat.
Yeah,
You didn't have to, I never did have to worry about whether or not, you know, they was talking to the public out there, and they would look for things to do, and I just turned them loose and let them do what they need to do, and it worked out
Did a
well.
good job,
Worked out
yeah.
well, so.
You guys
we're-
got anything
We're
for
very
me?
thankful for them.
I agree with that. Danny, even though he wasn't under my direction or everything, not ever call him or anything, he's like, I'll see if I can help.
Yeah.
And he
yeah,
did.
actually, Billy Comer hired Danny in.
Did he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so it was nice seeing all them, because I've been through all of them except for Lincoln Taylor,
Yeah.
so. You guys have anything for me?
No.
Okay,
Get with it.
okay.
All right, building maintenance update.
You got that?
I'm with this now.
Yeah, we'll do this one first. So EMS has the, they've already got the money for, lights out there. Shannon's asked me to get a quote. And I did the quote myself online, but, this is the, company that it's through, Light Up, and they're the cheapest with the best lights. It's these lights in here that's in the commissioner's room, for out there at their building. And this is just a 60-day net term, like for that. Let me see which one. Might be, okay, I may have it here. Yeah, this one here. This is just, Teresa wanted me to bring this so I could get somebody to sign it, if that's okay, to go ahead and do this 60-day net term on this, because eventually we're gonna be doing, the lighting in here in the courthouse, and then, we're gonna change everything over, obviously, to LED, because that'll save money eventually. But this is just a 60-day net term for us to be able to order the lights and then pay, you know. But they already have the monies for the lights now, but we wanted to go ahead and do the 60-day net term, if that was okay with you guys. Make a motion to,
Money already there.
yeah, he's already got the money for the lights, but this is just to be able to get on there and order, and then, you know, for the 60 days.
So what you're doing is you're setting up
An account.
You're setting up a credit account.
Yeah. I'm sure this is what Teresa told me to get, so.
So what's the Dun and Bradstreet ID number?
47988. I've got it in my folder.
We do have that already, okay, all right. Okay,
It's close by.
okay, all right, okay. And do you have any idea of what kind of dollar amount that you're gonna?
Oh yeah, so right now he actually needs right at 95 lights, so 100 lights is $49.95. It's, I don't have it on.
Cheap.
Is that like 4,995?
Yeah, 4,995.
Yeah.
Not
So do you,
My first thinking.
They're actually at $49.95 a piece, but if I do the 100 lights, then I'll get a cheaper price. You know what I mean? She'll quote me a cheaper
So is
price.
it utilizing the same box and you're just putting a guts in it, or is it?
No, I take out the entire, that light, like right there, the 2x4, I take that whole light out and just wire one in and drop it in. It goes right in place of that light there.
so what about, what about your request, are you, like for the courthouse, what what are you gonna request in dollar amount? Because that's one of the things you gotta put on here for a credit limit, so what are you thinking?
Well, I can come back eventually, but this is for,
Just
that
right
one's,
there.
yeah, that one's for in here, it was 15,000. We need 300 lights. We need 100
You're
lights on
replacing
these.
some of those as you go, aren't you?
Yes, yeah. Some lights I'm just replacing as I go with the money that I have in my budget
Okay.
now.
Okay.
I've just been replacing. This, Teresa wanted me to go ahead and just do this so that we can go ahead and get his going, so that we eventually already have the account set up.
Okay, okay. Alright,
I'll make a motion.
Mike makes a motion to.
Let me make, go ahead, I'm sorry, let me make sure we're doing, we're setting up an account for $49.95. So it's already
No.
there, money's already there, we're just making an account just so you can do this stuff.
For his, yeah, yeah, so later on, eventually, we'll be able to
It's not,
come back
technically,
in.
there's not a money amount on this account, it's like starting a bank account someplace,
Yeah.
you're starting an open line
Yeah.
of credit.
What's the name of the company, John?
Light up.
But
Where are they
he wants
at?
me, even though
Where
there,
they at?
even though there's not a number amount.
Texas.
You don't go, you're not going over $49.95.
No, I won't right now, no, and if I do, I'll come back.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
The reason wasn't worried about the money is because he has the money, and that's what he said, he already has it budgeted, so.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Well, and I wanted to be sure too, I heard the number $49.95 and I also heard there was not a limit.
Well, and I can get them, that's why I said, the $49.95, it's actually gonna be cheaper now, it's like 42, because I think it was like $42 a piece.
Okay,
And then shipping is free after so many
yeah.
of the items.
John second, I'll make it unanimous, what you need right here.
Yeah. Okay.
And we talked about
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
you talked about the concrete
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah, he's coming this week. He said this week or beginning of next week he'll be here.
Something that I like to see, and it's probably gonna happen in the spring or next warm weather, but
Sir.
is, those concrete posts that are at the end of the sidewalks, if somebody can try to straighten those up somewhat.
Yeah, we'll get those worked on. For sure. The ones that are like, the black ones that are like till, and they need to be like sandblasted, but I don't know how. If they have a mobile thing, they come up, or if they have to take those back
There's,
out.
you might get a hold of,
Max.
I was gonna say the, Dale Nolan,
Oh,
he has a portable sandblaster.
okay.
And it may not even be something you need. to
Actually,
do.
I'll get a hold of him, because somebody told me his name on cleaning that big tall monument.
Talking about English?
No.
Talking about English?
Yeah.
No. Jan Watterson, I talked to him, he told me what to try first, but
Okay.
he said just try Dawn soap and try to scrub it first, because I talked to him one day, and he goes, that's all.
To get the green off the stone.
No, he said to use that, what they call that, rinse off stuff that you just spray on in the
That's,
water.
a lady gave me a address for
We
that,
tried
it comes out of
mine.
Holland, Michigan.
Oh, you can,
Yeah.
you can buy that stuff at Scott's Hardware.
We tried the green.
He said not
Did not
to,
work.
he said not to use a power washer.
Yeah, you can't get up on it, they'll chip it, yeah.
But he said that, use that, try that stuff first. And then on the statue itself, he said, find you a corner and take some Dawn dishwasher detergent and wash it, and he said, I guarantee it'll come clean. And then I asked him how he sealed it, and he said, they actually sealed it with a brush, and Emily and Ick Watterson sealed it with a brush and, I guess polyurethane, and the company, because he said 2 days later it was still sticky, and he said he called the guy and said, what's going on? And he said, well, how'd you put it on? And he goes, well, we painted 2 coats with the brush, and he goes, we never do that. He goes, it'll stay on there forever because they usually spray it, so it's real thin, but.
He said the last time I did it was 30 years ago.
Yeah. And he said that he would come assist or help
Okay.
or,
And you got his number?
I can get it, I mean,
Yeah.
it's, Judge Mount's calling on.
Oh, okay, okay. Next thing is the, Comfort Systems, where we have, I have a paper, but the new one is for S&L for the preventative maintenance now that we're actually adding 2 buildings. Well, we're adding the corrections and dispatch building onto that, along with the old jail. The new systems that they installed, Comfort Systems wasn't doing the preventative maintenance on those units. Their was only for the courthouse, courthouse and the new jail. That's the only thing Comfort Systems was doing with their quote, and it was $25,231. And I had to pay that semi-annually, so I had to pay $12,615 in 50 installments.
Now back up there, what are you talking about?
The PM on the building, on the,
Yeah.
Comfort Systems comes in and they're supposed to.
They're supposed to come
They've not been
in.
doing that. They're supposed to come in and check the filters and do the preventative maintenance on these things, and
Okay.
they've really dropped the ball on that.
Yeah.
And cost us some money.
And who is it?
And this,
that's Comfort Systems. That's who we have now.
Okay.
Just for example, like they give me an hourly rate, which is on the back here, I don't know if you see that or not, but they have like an hourly rate thing of what their standard
Yeah.
rate would be, and then what we would pay since
yeah.
So
we have a contract with them.
we have a contract with this country and they've not been doing their job, is that correct?
Not like they should be.
Okay, we're
Yeah,
gonna keep using them?
No.
that's why.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to sort
Yeah,
out.
Yeah.
because.
We're changing companies.
And, he's actually, the other one is S&L here that's put a bid in. They're
Which they
actually-
do they do all of our stuff now. We've had other contractors in the past, but, in my opinion, if we go away from, S&L, I can call one of their contractors that works for them, and he knows everything about the building. I mean, he knows every heat pump in here. He's very intelligent when it comes to the work, and he'll be the one to do majority of it.
Is that Roger?
Yes, Roger.
So the kicker is that, and I think we talked about this when we went with Comfort, was that, what other county buildings do we have that need a service on you know, does the county highway have a
Right.
AC unit? Does the health department have one? Does the old health department have one? I mean, do we need to have that?
Well, and I
service
think the only
thing?
thing County Highway has right now is it just yours, the one downstairs, and then the one in the back in the kitchen. Yeah, that's all that's in there now, and those they're not rooftop units or the systems that we have. So if like I go down there normally, if hers needs fixed, or we call Josh that installed it.
I guess where I'm getting at is if we got other facilities that need to have PMs done on them,
They know.
I'd rather they all be included.
Right. But S&L is the ones who normally come and take care of those anyways.
Even like the health department.
They did the health department when it was installed, so the new one, when they redid the health department, they put all the new stuff in. So that's who we use, for all, and that's who I've been using for all the PM stuff. I mean, even though I have a contract, for example, I had them come in here and look at a pump downstairs. They were here 15 minutes, I got a bill for $555. I'm in the wrong business.
So this price of $23,281.80, you said that the price we had with Comfort
Did not include,
was 25 something?
yes,
So we're getting more for less?
yes,
And local too.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, I'm
Yeah.
always for that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, we always need to go local.
So technically, you're asking us for.
So I have to,
Change it.
yeah, and what I have to do is I have to send a letter. We're gonna write up a letter, because we got 31 days to cancel this. So we gotta do it within the 31 days, which is 1/31 of 21.
I'll make a motion to change.
And I'll
Go
second
from
that.
Comfort Systems to S&L Heating and Cooling.
Second.
I'll make that unanimous. You need something signed on that or not?
Well, I know this much. You
Yeah,
can call Scotty
well,
anytime you want to.
absolutely.
Hell,
Oh, yeah, I've called him at
I don't know
3
where this other company's from, but
They're out of Louisville, but the last time one of them drove, I should have brought a bill, but last time one of them drove, it was 3.5 hours and they charged me.
Tonight, that compressor went down.
Yeah,
You know that? Yeah, that.
yeah, yeah.
Did
No, I'm
From
sorry.
Louisville?
That was,
Talking about the heating
yeah,
tower.
Yeah.
cooling tower.
You
yep.
drove from Louisville, 3.5 hours, what did you do, go through Evansville?
They drove, it's way down in Kentucky. It's way in Kentucky. I
Maybe
can't-
went through Biloxi, Mississippi or something on the way, I don't know. There's a signed copy there.
Okay. And
They
then,
get no hurry either, they,
yeah, it was a long trip. And then, one other thing I have, I don't know if you have anything for me, but one
You
other
need
question I
to
have
sign it
is,
too, don't you?
no, you already signed it.
I did go on
Yeah,
there.
it's,
You sure?
yeah. No, I'm not sure, but yeah,
I
I'm
don't
sure.
know.
Yeah, it's this one right here, you already got it.
Okay, all right.
I'll put it on top. I know it's been brought up a lot, but vehicle. Do you have any suggestions for me? Can I drive the Trailblazer? Should I know in my, council, I don't know if she knows or not, but
I'm
in,
trying to drive either one of them.
in the council budget, they put money in my vehicle line, which was supposed to be, from my understanding is I could use that for if I got a new one, that would be for the payment for every year, you know what I mean, the lease payment. But I talked to Shannon and, I was thinking about just driving a Trailblazer and possibly getting a side-by-side for around here, for doing the sidewalks or going out to, and I can drive it to EMS, county highway, I can drive it everywhere instead of
What do you mean a side by side?
like a UTV
Okay.
or something, like a Kubota. No?
I ain't for sure about that. I think you can drive them on the county, but I don't think you can drive them on state road.
I wouldn't be on state road.
You gotta cross it. You can cross it.
You can cross them, you can go
Yeah,
one,
yeah, but you
You can
can't.
go to the next
Yeah.
road, county road.
Can the sheriff get something to the?
well, I've asked several times, but it's
Okay.
been, the LISO thing's kind of been down, but
Okay.
I was just curious on the driving the Trailblazer.
And what
if-
Trailblazer you
The
talking
white Trailblazer, are you still
No,
driving
no.
it though, Jeff?
It's parked back there, nobody's using it.
The white one that's been kind of setting, is that a,
County vehicle, huh?
Well, I don't see where it'd be a problem.
okay.
Where's the maroon Chevy pickup truck at?
I think,
It's done. We've lost 3 in the past 2 weeks.
What do you mean it's done?
Engine blew.
On the maroon one?
Yes,
told you it's going bad.
Well, it's been running awful good, what happened?
we've lost 3 in 2 weeks.
Okay, well, that leaves that out, don't it?
Yeah, okay.
Is that, I'm okay with that if we voted.
Yeah,
County vehicle.
I'm good with that.
Okay, all right.
If they
Thank
good
you.
with it, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Get those timers.
All right, next up is the service animal, pets and police canine policy. And Mr. Houston, he was here, like I say, and he told me that he had looked over this and he was fine with this policy. And this policy sets in place exactly what my understanding determines a service dog, correct? And also follows the ADA guidelines and all, correct?
Addie's email that I sent you guys also said that the Indiana laws, because states and locals can have extra laws. Of course, you know how that goes with the law. You can't do above and beyond, depending on it's positive or negative. But the Indiana laws mirror very closely the federal laws, and this is what this policy is based on.
Okay. So we need to adopt this policy, is that what we need to do?
We do, because I will be having someone file an accommodation with me very soon. Just so you all have an idea from that, because years ago, I was given the responsibility for the ADA Title VI
Yes.
coordination as well. And then I have to receive accommodation requests from any employee that would need a service animal. Then, based upon where the animal is going to be located for work purposes, I have to provide notification to people in the proximity or that would come in and out of that office about the animal. Because they in turn, animals have dander, sometimes people have phobias, they do have other conditions. It's not just about the person that's needing the accommodation, there could be other people who might need
Yeah,
accommodations because of allergens and whatnot.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a process, but I have to have something to base my actions on. And since this is the first time we've ever encountered this particular type of accommodation, we just didn't have anything, so necessity is mother of invention.
And just what little bit I looked at this, that would also include police dogs? Would have to
What
go
it
with these
does
guidelines?
is allows for police dogs to come in to the
I
courthouse
mean, they
or
are-
county buildings. So, and it addresses that. Police dogs accompanied by their
Yeah.
handler are permitted.
Yeah.
We do have people, and security said they would be very glad to have a policy because people do show up at the door sometimes with their pet. And they think they can walk in with their pet to pay taxes or whatnot. So it does not allow for pets unless it's a genuine service animal. So that
I get-
addresses those things.
I guess my question would be is, how do we determine that it's a service animal?
That's a bit
Is there a
tricky.
certification? Because I can say,
And they do.
I can say mine is too.
You can get them online.
Oh, well, yeah, I know, because that's how you get them on an airplane, so.
Yeah.
But,
This is true, and that's something by the federal, I've got a federal questionnaire, and you cannot ask for them to perform the task, and you cannot ask for them to provide papers, but yet it turns around and says, in order for you to have a service animal, it must be trained. But
Well,
they don't give you the leeway to get the training certificate.
that's where I'm at, because just because I say it's a service animal, doesn't mean that it's a friendly service animal. And, you know, if you have a 10-foot lead or whatever, and that dog walks over and bites somebody, now we've allowed it to be here, I mean, are we getting sued too?
And
Well,
I'm thinking by this guidelines here, may give us, not give us a lot of leeway on what's a service dog, but it does give us a lot of a say-so how that service dog's gotta act and guidelines.
And this gives us, it gives we don't want to deny anybody their rights to
Yeah.
what they're allowed under the law, but we also do not want to have infringement.
Well, somebody's
As
right over here could be, like you
Yeah.
said,
So
you know,
this
infringing on
policy,
somebody else's,
yes.
so.
Because it addresses that, you know, the vaccinations have to be brought up to public health standards. Service animals, sole function, as emotional or support do not qualify. Employees are not permitted to bring pets. Other employees shall not approach or touch the service animal. So it
Well,
gives guidelines for all of us, so to speak.
Well, the other part of that is that if we're, and I'm not saying, you know, we're allowing, I mean, but if someone's bringing a service animal in here during their, work hours, that dog's laying somewhere, so now we have cleaning that's doing something different than normal. And heaven forbid, where, you know, we've got fleas or something else, so.
And it addresses the grooming, I think, in here as well, because it is, ultimately, if I take a pet onto the courthouse lawn and it bites somebody, I'm the owner. It does fall back to the owner, no matter if it is a service animal or not, to be responsible for certain things. It's kind of almost like though, when somebody walks across your property and they fall in a hole and break their leg, they could sue you too, even though they're actually trespassing. So we're kind of, by federal rights, we are
I understand that.
obligated, but yet we do have, like you said, there is skin in the game for us, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm guessing here too, that the judges probably ought to have a policy of their own, because they may have a little different take on what we do on the rest of the building.
Well, okay,
I mean, they need
this is
one.
federal, so
Yeah, well,
this is based on federal, so the language probably wouldn't vary much, no matter whether it was a court policy or a,
Well, I mean, just because it's the judges, they kind of control their courtroom, they might want to have their
well,
own.
they don't have a separate handbook from us. So this is extension of the county's, your rights, like FMLA, all your
Okay.
federal rights. So this is a
Yeah.
countywide policy. If the courts decide they need a different thing, then they would have to develop their own handbook.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm fine with it, I mean, it's one of those regulations that you're not going to change it, cause it's a right of an individual, but, I guess on the flip side of that, I worry about, you know, if cleanliness of an area, what's required of our cleaning crew compared to what, you know, in certain areas, are they required to clean up messes and stuff, you know, other stuff, but,
And then it does say that it must be already trained before to be permitted. So I guess
but how do you
how
verify
do
that?
and you can't ask them, and there's only 2 questions that they can be asked, and that's in section F down there. Is it the service dog because of a disability, and what work or task has it been trained to perform? But you cannot mandate that they show you papers.
And I'm assuming they'd have to turn in their papers for vaccinations and all that to your office.
That part, I want to know that the animal is vaccinated
Yeah,
on a yearly basis. So, and again, this will be in somebody's confidential file because it is a condition.
Yeah. I'll make a motion
All right,
to, unless you got something.
the only thing I'm gonna ask you is, okay, and you mentioned this a minute ago. What happens if you got somebody in the courthouse that, has extreme allergies to a service, to a dog? What do you do? Now, who comes first here, is what I'm asking, does, what do we do there? I mean, what's that get into?
And what if somebody has a phobia of dogs?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, at that point, I mean, which one comes first here?
Well, for example, the accommodations are all about making what you have work with your situation. So if, say for example, I'm the maintenance man, he's still here, and he has a phobia to dogs and he has to go change a light bulb in the office where the service animal is located, and he's afraid of dogs and it's a dog. The person would need to, because if the accommodation was notified with me, I would have to make sure that they take it on a break and let him do his work, and then they can return with the animal when he's done. So,
But if it's an
it's an
allergy, I mean,
and then I don't know if we
Yeah, I
have
don't
to
know.
install special filters, or if we have to relocate people, and that's what I have to give them
That's just-
notice for.
that's
I'd
just
say
about,
we do all that probably.
that's just about as clear as pond water, just to be
Well-
honest. I mean, it's not your fault, but I mean, it's just,
No. And then if they
It's-
submit.
Our hands are tied one way or the other, so.
yeah, it is, that's what I say, I mean, it's,
Because when I
and people don't understand
Can't
that,
deny
they just think that, hey, this is it. But, you got a federal mandate, you got a state mandate.
Responses saying, I
You know?
have severe dog allergies, so we may have to put in special filters, or we may have to relocate people. I mean,
Well, they're
I don't know
wearing
where we
masks
would
now,
go
so.
with this, but.
I love government.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so do we need a motion to,
I think you made one, didn't you?
You made the motion
I second it.
I'll make it unanimous that we approve the guidelines and add it to the policy. Now, what happens down the road, that's yet to be determined.
And will be. probably.
And will
I
be.
will say
Will
this.
be.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a service animal, and you always think that it's a dog.
Yeah,
But
true.
service animals can be a cat,
Mhm.
can be I've seen monkeys, I've seen a
Mhm.
miniature pony.
I was getting ready to say,
I
I've heard of
mean,
miniature
so
horses.
you could open a
And I'm
can
gonna
of
go
And
worms.
they go into restrooms with these animals too, so it's not just,
And I'm gonna one up you, there can be multiple needs in one person. They can have more than one service animal.
But aren't most of those other animals emotional support, and didn't you say your thing said that whatever the paperwork's for is not for emotional support, it's for service dogs?
there's a difference,
And
yeah.
service animals normally perform actual tasks.
Right.
Like they can open a purse and get out medication,
Right.
notify somebody.
I think it even addresses that, doesn't it?
But it is a fine line in some cases, whether it is about, there's examples and all the stuff that I think
Yeah.
obviously.
Well,
sit here.
horses
But
and
if they have an
horses.
anxiety issue, for example, if somebody has an anxiety issue, that the service animal may be able to sense when the person is getting anxious and do something for them, which emotionally supports them.
I say that, and
But
I
it's-
say about the pony
yes.
because this lady brought it on an airplane, so.
Yeah, no,
Well, there's a difference between a service animal
Really?
and a comfort
Yeah,
animal.
mention that.
Correct. There is a designated difference between those two.
And people.
How old Silver?
But they have to file the so this gives me the basis for me to accept an accommodation for a service animal, and the accommodation has to be a legitimate accommodation.
All right.
I want to thank you for looking all this up. You're our ADA person, so,
No, I appreciate that.
Me too.
and,
Yeah.
really, I
Thank
mean,
you.
probably without you, we wouldn't have got this done, so.
Well, I appreciate it.
And it does protect us as much as,
Yeah, the whole goal is to make sure everybody's needs are met, and we all do it together.
Yeah, that's
right?
what,
Well, you've
that's
done
what you try to do, but,
thank you.
sometimes, like I say, it's awful hard to get that done.
We could have a service horse, like you said, you and I could have one. Come riding in
Come riding in,
to the meeting.
or riding out on the other.
We're getting in the weeds now.
Group health insurance plan renewal.
He does got a lot of information, and Mike's gonna tell you all about it.
Mike, you're on
I'm not
that
gonna
committee,
tell you-
so
I'm not
I'm,
gonna tell you a whole lot, but I'm gonna tell you what transpired. We met with our insurance, board, what was that, Monday?
Monday, yes, yes.
Monday. And, BJ and I'm gonna lie if I know what the other guy's name was, but I can't remember what it was, but Evan, there you go. They came in, talked to us about the health plans for all county government employees and families, I guess. Also said that United Healthcare said, first came back and told them that, we've been with them, I think, since 2016, no, 2015. And that if we wouldn't shop around, that they would give us a one-time rate. So in turn, I guess before United Healthcare came back and says they were gonna, don't shop around, they already shopped around, so. But, they shopped around with another name brand, insurance company, but, bottom line is, we had a current plan, a renewal plan, and an alternative plan. The alternative plan actually was the plan that the board, the insurance board went along with. It actually, all the benefits, the summary is exactly the same as it was last year. The only change will be, or would be that it throws in a prescription variable, which there's a list of drugs in your paperwork there that is going to affect about 20 people that are on the insurance out of about 230 people. There's going to be about 20 people that are affected with a possible increase in what they would pay for a prescription. We don't know who these people are. They just know what drugs that these 20 are taking. And there's alternatives to that. There's an alternative that they could take a generic and it fall right back to being a cheaper drug. But the drug that they had fell out, and United Healthcare said that they would cover the drug, but it would be at a different rate, and that rate is based off of tiers, and tier 1, 2, 3, and 4. In the basis before was $10.25 and $50 for tier 1, 2, and 3. For the alternative plan, tiers are 10, 40, 85, and in a fourth tier for $250. I don't know that anybody was on had a fourth tier drug that I remember seeing.
There's some on the back of that, in the cardiovascular and the asthma COPD.
You can.
There's some fourth.
Yeah, I take that, and you can get a generic for that. So it would fall back to the $10.
Right, yeah. the
Metatrol
orange
hold.
sheet, yeah. But what they said that the savings, if we went with the alternative on the drug, was that it would save the overall cost of the plan about $90,000.
Yeah,
if
what-
we adopted this tier system.
Yeah, and that's where it's gonna fall in, is that we, I think the renewal cost is, like $158,682. The alternative is $152,437. And if we went with the alternative, after we get a credit in January, it would actually be $5,839 that it would cost the county.
This sheet right here, you guys wanna look at, because this is kind of the summary sheet.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So in turn, I won't say it's a wash, because it's still gonna cost us about $6,000, but we're getting roughly the same plan, changing the prescription a little bit. That's gonna, could affect 20 people if they can't find a alternative, you know, generic. But the board or the insurance committee went with the alternative and recommended the alternative is what, you know, we vote on
And we don't have to bid this, do we? Because
it's already,
it's,
it's
Yeah.
already a done deal, but,
yeah.
they need to know, they need us to vote tonight because, they need to have open enrollment in the next week or so and make all this happen for employees, so. or
One
for-
thing I'll add to what Mike said too, when it comes to the drugs that are on that list, that are more like, I'll call them specialty drugs, they do have, most of them have a savings plan, or you can buy or get the RX card, and you can actually get them cheaper than if you're on our insurance.
Yeah.
Through the savings plans that they offer with some of those prescription cards, or directly from the manufacturer. And also, I've also heard Amazon just released that they're gonna have a pharmacy, and that if you choose not to use your insurance, they'll be able to supply your medicine and even off the grid and using your insurance. And they said it'd be interesting to see how it pans out for insurance companies, if they're not using their benefits for their prescriptions, if they can buy them cheaper than if they pay them through the insurance, so.
The
there's
one
things
thing-
that
I'm
they
gonna
can
tell you
do.
what's interesting.
The one thing they did say is that for all these, the 20 people that are affected, they would have a person that would either be available for them to reach out to them, and they'll give them alternatives, and they'll give them plans and places that they can go if they don't want the generic, or if, you know, their doctor doesn't recommend the generic, they can go out there and find alternative funding to pay for those drugs, so.
One of the things that, he was talking about what Amazon's doing, but know your drugstore also. Because now there is drugstores that if you use your insurance, and you're taking a maintenance medicine of some sort, whether it be blood pressure, cholesterol, or whatever, you can buy them out of pocket a lot cheaper than your insurance is gonna be charged for. I know that to be a fact. You know, like blood pressure medication, it's according to what you're on, but, you know, it can be, and I'm talking for a 30-day supply, it can be a $20 or $25 difference. That just because you run it through your insurance, and your insurance is charged more. And that's hard to imagine that, but that is a fact. That is a fact. So people need to, you know, look at that and know who they're dealing with, and the whole 9 yards, so. All right, so,
One last thing I'll say, and Tammy, correct me if I'm wrong, but, it was the committee's also recommendation that, is that the employees are going to pretty much not have they could have possibly, some of it could be like $1 or $2 change on their benefit, increase or premium, but for the most part, it's gonna be a wash on most people, so it's actually a benefit back to the employee or the county employees, so, and their families, I mean.
'Cause
But
they
there was
give us
also
a
that-
the
Yeah.
rebate we're gonna probably get, depending on our claims and how they come in.
Yeah, but there also, I don't know if they were bringing up about that, we're not changing that policy on the 10-year and,
Oh, no, and that's staying the same, our county policy, for people who retire from the county, and picking up insurance at their cost afterwards, that's gonna be good as well, because anybody who retires, in the next year, whatever, is gonna be able to still have an affordable healthcare plan until they're 65, because once they hit 65, it's automatic, they're off the insurance. But, if we have anybody retire that is under 65, we've got different ones announcing their retirement. If they don't wanna go out and buy insurance and they're not Medicare eligible, they'll be able to get it still at an affordable price if they wanna stay with the county's insurance, as long as they're an employee with 15 years of service or an elected with 10. I think that was.
actually, the other thing that was brought up was, remember when the, public defenders came and asked to get on the insurance? It was recommended by the insurance company not to do that. he goes, you're opening yourself up for a lot of liability or possible claims that could drive the rest of your insurance up, so
Yeah.
It's non-employed anyway.
it's contracted employees.
Yeah, so where do you end, once you
And,
start that?
and
where do you-
actually, that was a good point, because they brought that up too. If you allow them, who's to say the next contracted employee comes up and goes, I want on your insurance, and they go, well, we're not gonna let you on, well, you let those guys, they're contracted, so
Open
he
the
said
door.
it's open Pandora's box, so he said I wouldn't do it, so.
I don't blame them for asking though, but.
No, I would ask too.
But in that, if I'm not mistaken, on the, public defenders, aren't they given a stipend for insurance? They're not given anything?
They're self-employed.
Well, some of them.
Again.
Attorneys.
They're
Yeah, but
independent contractors.
they're a contractor with the county, right?
They do contract, but they contract per what services they offer,
No,
not by,
nothing.
no,
Okay.
they don't get any
Okay.
other benefits.
Alright.
Cause some of them will carry murder cases, some of them will only do child, you know, they
Okay.
have and they're not all paid the same either, so they don't all put the same amount of hours in for the
Yeah, the
county
uses,
either.
that's what we were talking
And
about.
some of these guys work more than one county, don't they?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
So, I mean, they can,
yeah, they pick that up pretty quick.
I don't blame them for asking,
I don't either.
but
Okay.
the recommendation was to not do that.
All right, hear a motion to approve the, alternate, bid for the,
I think I'll
Insurance.
make that a motion. The way I read this was the, recommendation from the insurance committee.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
I'll make it unanimous. And, do you need something signed for this?
Yeah, and you've
This
got
one
a-
copy?
Yes, I'm gonna let you sign this letter if you don't mind.
And I'd say this day and age with insurance and how everything goes up, I was kinda surprised and shocked that we could pretty much get it for what we're doing.
Yeah, it's a big expense.
And I do want to commend our insurance agents because we were told a story about someone who was in a desperate situation, and usually approval would take a matter of weeks for certain particular drug that they needed access to. And our agents worked with United Healthcare and got them approval, not in weeks, but in hours. So they got it in about 6 hours, what would have normally taken 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So they do try to be very attentive. So hats off to our agent for always trying to meet our urgent needs. Sometimes nothing's perfect, but they do come through in a lot of cases where it's necessary. And so I was really pleased that it's all about the employees and giving them benefits.
Okay. All right, next up is the Drainage Board grant application, request. And, this is an amount of $100,000, and this is a reimbursable county would spend and then being reimbursed if it, and it requires a budget. And, I think Everett has probably talked to the council on this, or he's gonna
Not
go.
yet.
Okay.
This will go December.
He's gonna go to the council on this, and the request is for the Muscatatuck River log jam removal, DNR Lake and River Enhancement Grant, the state money derived from the boat registrations. And the project is to remove 3 log jams on the Muscatatuck River. We gotta get estimates on that. The grant will pay $35,000 per log jam with a max of $100,000. 20% match required, can be mixed in kind and cash. In kind max is 50% of local match. In kind max will be utilized, total amount unknown at this time, and the grant funds dispersal is in arrears. We met down on Stucker Ditch, back, John was there, what, a month ago, 6 weeks ago? And we had the Corps of Engineers there, IDEM was there, DNR was there, and we actually found out they have become, I think, a little bit more lenient, that we can do a lot of this on our own. But again, without going through the permitting process, as long as we scatter what, we can even burn, what they take out and then scatter it, out through the fields, is the way I understood it. And, so with that being said, there is a grant, and this is, Nick Creedy through River Hills is helping us with this. And, there is $100,000 that we feel like that we can get, the Drainage Board can get, and that would cover a lot on being able to help alleviate a lot of our problems. Now, my argument still is, and has been all along, I don't care what anybody tells me, I still believe that the state of Indiana has a big responsibility in this. Whenever the law is very clear, that says that you cannot back water up onto your neighbor, and they own most of the ground down there. When they bought that and turned it into a duck pond, then now all of a sudden and that's what, and I told them that they're not following the same rules and regulations that they are holding us to, and I have a problem with that. But again, I think, we can go in and clean and get that out, but it's going to cost money to do it. I think myself, the $100,000, we would certainly want to try to
Somebody
get
got the
that.
governor's ear up there. I don't know who it was. It might have been you, but, when I was there, I did catch those guys saying the governor said, make sure you help these people down here.
Yeah,
And they were very, so
Yeah.
whatever happened, how that got there, it sounded like
Yeah.
Branford on it.
yeah, so anyway, they would have to, Everett Hunley being the president of the Drainage Board right now, he will go before the council, and they would have to set up a budget for him, and then, again, this is reimbursable, what they spend, they would get back. I will tell you this, I've dealt with this a long time. The first one we took out down there, we opened up several acres that was able to be reclaimed.
At the bridge?
The one down past the bridge actually on the Muscatatuck, and that was back, I think about '04, '05. And, there was farm ground that hadn't been farmed in years that was been able to be, reutilized. And my biggest fear has always been for the city of Austin. My biggest fear has been for Spicertown. If you have a hazmat spill on I-65 at the Austin exit, and you've got a flood, how are you gonna get them people out there? If you can't, west of Austin is 256s are gonna be flooded, north is gonna be flooded, south is gonna be flooded. The only way to get them out of there would be just basically boat or a helicopter. And that's been the argument, and that was the conversation I had with the governor, and I think that's probably one of the reasons that I feel like that they are trying to help us down here, so I
Bob,
will
assuming-
hope that would continue.
Assuming we get these grants, I'm asking, because you've been involved for years. If they open this up, this is something we're gonna have to reopen every 15 years or so. I mean, let's just keep filling back in.
See, my argument, my argument to that is also, and as I brought it up down at the meeting there. If you go back to the Indiana Code book in 1960, well, prior to 1970, Indiana Code says that if you own property and it had a waterway on it, it was your responsibility to keep it clean, to maintain that it had to be clear of all brush. About 1970, DNR really got involved with the waterways. And what happened is they said, okay, now here's what we want you to do. We want you to allow these trees to grow up. And if you look at most waterways in this county and in the state of Indiana, the growth on them is 40, 50 years old. And there's no 100 to 200 year growth there. But what happened, and that was my argument with them, is they felt like, DNR felt like that would hold the banks and stop the erosion problem. But what it basically done was, once the trees got so big and the water, the velocity and the amount of water that was coming through there undercut the trees, the root wad system, and they fall over into the channels, and now it causes flooding, now it causes more erosion. So, again, and then they said, for years, they said, no, you can't get in the channel and do any work to get them out of there. So it just it was really just a dog and pony show, just to be honest. But I think they've now begun to realize that this is not the proper procedure for that. I would love to see them go back and clear all the waterways of all the trees and then put 30-foot to 40-foot buffer zones in some kind of good grass that would be, where it would be sod or whatever, and then I think it would probably hold it a
Well,
lot
I
better.
think my answer is it might happen again.
It
in
could.
10 to
Yeah.
20 years.
Yes, I can't tell you that it won't, but I can tell you this, you know, here's what's happened and what a lot of people don't realize, I think, here in this, that live even in Scott County. And not only Scott, but you've got part of Jackson County and Washington County. What happens is for FEMA and our floodplain has grown to the point now where it starts affecting the private citizens. You know, a lot of people say, well, I don't live on that waterway and it don't actually flood my property. That's okay. But what they're not realizing is that floodplain has now expanded. And if you look at the floodplain, maps for Scott County, now people are having, and their insurance has gone up because now they live in a floodplain that in a 100-year floodplain. And, you know, we've been fortunate, you know, I've said all along that in our lifetime, you know, we've seen the worst outbreak of tornadoes come through this county. We've seen the worst snowstorm that ever hit this county. And we've seen a couple of them, the blizzard of '78, but we also seen in '92 the worst flood that's ever hit this county. And all that cost money. And it cost a lot of money to the homeowners that didn't even know it because now their insurance, because of where they lived, that maybe 10 years ago wasn't in this floodplain, now it is. Out in that FEMA floodplain has grown and they're in it and it's costing money. So I think it's something that we've certainly got to continue to work on and continue to work with and see what happens.
But the
So-
work that, you're talking about doing here, we can do that?
Yes, yeah. Matter of fact,
I
everything,
know we worked
everything,
on one off of 256 down there someplace, I think you said.
yeah, we have worked, we have done several of these. Now, with that being said, and I'm gonna, and Jill, I'm gonna ask you this while you're here. You know, I would like to talk to Bob, and I would suggest this, is to do maybe an interlocal agreement with the county highway department on the big excavator with the drainage board. Because a lot of this we can do, I think, as long as they can use it. And I would, you know, certainly do an interlocal agreement to make sure that they could. But I think we can do a lot of this ourselves, and we've got people that would operate it. But it would have to be with the drainage board to be able to do that. That's tied to the drainage board somehow, that could come in and operate this equipment and take this out, which therefore it's in-kind work that basically all you're out's your fuel. You're gonna be just fuel, all you're gonna be out. And, you know, and that's, the one we took out, and neither one of you were here at the time, but Jill, this has always been, she's loved this thing ever since we had it, but, and the one we took out down on the river back in 2004, 5, I can't remember now, but the bids that we had to get that out there was, the cheapest one we had was $350,000 to come in and take that out. That's when I actually purchased it. The county commissioners agreed to allow me to go purchase this. We purchased a crane out of Kentucky and brought that thing in, and we cleaned that out, and
We still got it.
we still got it.
Still got it.
It's, you know, but we cleaned that thing out, and I think altogether we had, with fuel and buying the crane and the buckets and everything with it, we had about $80,000 into that, and that was what opened up a lot of that area that they
I
could.
remember doing that.
And so, you know, again, it was, it saved us well over $250,000 to do it. So that's what I'm saying, if with the track hoe we got now, which is even better than the crane, I think we need to do an interlocal agreement with the drainage board, and so that they will have access to be able to use that. So with that being said, on the grant,
Two grant applications. applications, actually. One is for the Stucker Ditch part of it too.
Okay, yeah, one's for the river and one's for the Stucker Ditch, okay.
Both of them,
And both-
100,000, aren't they?
Amount requested is up to on a 100,000 a site, same thing, yeah, with a cumulative of $300,000. And again, this would have to be, a line item would have to be done by the, council, and they can't, do anything without the council approving the money for it and that kind
So
of
we'll
thing.
pay it and they'll pay it. And
Yes,
then we get
yes,
reimbursed.
we'd be reimbursed for it, yeah.
So I'm guessing
So,
we have to go to council and they gotta,
Well, the
Drainage
drainage board will go to the council,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
All you're doing is
Gotcha.
approving this, because the drainage board is under our
Okay.
domain, so, I'd ask,
need two motions or one?
I'll tell you what, let's just do one motion, do them both at the same time, what do you say?
I'm for
So,
that.
both grant applications, so I'll entertain a motion to, for approval or denial of the two grant applications, for the drainage board.
Yeah, I'll make that motion to approve both these grants.
Second,
I'll second that. I think
that's unanimous.
And just a
we need
little
to have those
interest
cleared
level.
up.
I'm sorry, Mike, go ahead.
We just need to have them cleared up, and if we can do the work ourselves.
It just makes sense.
It causes a lot of problems.
This is not federal money. This is actually money that's derived from, vote registrations.
Yes.
So that's where the
Yeah.
funding actually comes from. So this is not federal money. It's, again, state money turning around and helping.
Do you want these two signed here, or?
If you don't mind, that'd be great.
It just says him to sign, doesn't it? We don't need.
That-
Yeah.
yeah.
Hand them to her. Okay, next is, just property signs, notifications to the public.
And I'll tell you what that's about. I've had, a couple calls. People who live there, a lot of hunters apparently using that property. And, nothing there apparently tells them not to, but, one gentleman boarded the property there, said he's had one of his cattle get shot and some things, and they'd like to have that made into no hunting. That's really just what it comes down to. He wants us to put some signs up and have no hunting there. And I mean, I've thought about that, I don't know why we wouldn't, but maybe you guys know more about it than I do. I mean, I think if we're allowing them in there, we'll probably got a liability for them, I don't, maybe not, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me ask you this, and this has been brought up, to me also, and I don't know, may have you guys too. Is there, and I'm just asking, is there any reason that we wouldn't entertain selling that property?
Oh,
Down, that's in the floodplain? We can never do nothing with it. We have logged, we cut a.
You're
we cut-
talking about not the 60 acres.
Oh, yeah, not
You're talking
the
about-
six,
Yeah.
not the 60 acres up
Yeah.
on top, or actually it would be north of the field that we had cleared,
Mm-hmm.
starting across that way, and I don't know, we'd have to figure the acreage on that right there. But that is all in a floodplain.
Mm-hmm.
We can never do anything with that. We actually logged that, I think, Tammy, what was it, right at $100,000 worth of timber we took off of that.
98.
98,000, wasn't it? And that was what, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, something like that? 3 years ago. So you're looking at, again, I mean, there is a couple of people that has approached me about.
That live there, one on.
That live, that have property that own, that joins that. Is that something that we would be entertained doing, you think?
Yeah, that makes sense to me, it's doing us no good.
I mean,
I don't even think it has any economic value, does it?
it has,
Can't build anything there.
you can't build anything on it, you can't really do anything with it other than somebody hunt it, or I guess you could,
And then go back on the tax roll.
yeah, I mean, it would go back on the tax roll at that point, so
I'm guessing.
I mean, it's just something to think about, you know.
At times you can fish it.
Yeah, at times you can fish it, and I guess hunt mushrooms on it or something, I don't know.
Well, still though, they want, I think that's a good idea to do that, by the way, but at the moment, they wanna know if we can put this
I don't know
on
how
there.
that works with posting things. I mean, I guess you can go out there and put a sign up that says.
Well, we'd
trespassing,
be
no
asking,
hunting or
we all
whatever.
them to put some signs up.
I mean, I'd go to Walmart, buy 4 or 5 signs, or Scott's and buy 4 or 5 signs. and put
Now,
them on the
obviously,
tree.
that don't mean some people won't do it, but it gives the law, and conservation or whoever shows up out there some
Yeah.
authority and
Yeah,
probably be calling the police a little bit more often, probably, but. And I think there's 4-wheelers back in there and all this and that, but, he said one of his cows got shot. So,
yeah. I mean, again, I don't have no problem with that, posting it if that's what, you wanna do. I'm trying to think of the legalities, if there is any legalities, I mean, just
yeah.
because it is public property, but then again, you
Doesn't mean
can,
you can't hunt.
that don't mean that you
Yeah,
can do
it'd be like-
whatever you wanna do, because again, I think, like the 4-wheelers, I mean, even that right there, if somebody gets back in there and that's all treetops down in there now pretty well, so, if somebody gets back in there and gets injured on a 4-wheeler, then does it come back to the ownership, which is the county, and are you liable? So
Tammy and I
would-
discussed all that a little bit and says maybe it ought to be no trespassing, no hunting.
See, that's, I would.
That would probably violate a lot, I think.
I would suggest we talk to our legal counsel on that and see just, what,
We could do
what's
something
right,
next meeting.
what the right thing to do is on that, just to be honest. I mean, I hate to tell anybody
No, I'm
that
okay
can't do
with that.
something, but,
I just
again,
thought I might bring it up, and I
Yeah.
think he's got a good point.
Yeah, let's
If I had
let's
animals
get,
there and getting shot, I'd be upset.
sure, yeah,
Yeah.
well, let's get legal, let's get Bob involved on that and see what,
Okay, yeah, I'm okay with that.
okay. All right, consideration of the claim payable to Ford Motor Company in amount of $16,293.73.
That is the first payment, here's the original.
Oh, that's okay.
That's the first payment on the community correction vehicle purchases, the
Okay.
interceptors.
Yeah,
And so you just finished signing some of the paperwork after you guys approved it, and that's the original claims.
okay. This is already signed.
The first, the on top,
This
On
is
top
money
is
they
the only
already-
one needs to be signed, okay.
the top.
This is money they already budgeted, and we've already okayed
You've
this.
Already
paid-
okayed it, yeah.
you've already
I'll make
paid.
a motion to accept them.
Second.
Unanimous. We want me to sign it out here.
Do you see anything, you see under the auditor, sign underneath the auditor, so.
Oh, there it is, yeah. There it is.
And next to Ford Motor. John, did you second?
Yes, it did. Here you go. Give that back to her. And the second one is for Gent Construction, and that is,
Redevelopment money,
yes, for the, they're gonna,
fire
fire substation, $103,000, $103,800. I'll get it
That
out.
has been appropriated by redevelopment,
Yes.
and the money's there.
So the money's already in place, and I tell you what, I think they're pouring concrete in that today up there.
Actually, I think they already poured the concrete inside the building, they were waiting for it to cure to do the rest of it, but I think they're way along with it. I'll make a motion to accept it,
And I'll second that motion.
Unanimous.
I think that'll be an asset.
Well, it's like, we never thought much about that until the train situation changed
But
around
we've
here,
been, yeah, even locally here, we get stuck on one side or the other.
All right, how about the payroll ratification, for November the 6th, 2020?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Second, unanimous. And, about the consideration of the minutes, from October the 7th, 2020?
I'll make a motion, or second.
Second.
Mike made it, John seconded it, I'll make it unanimous for the minutes. All right, Next up is the EMS, department update.
Anybody got that kitchen timer?
Alright,
Sure.
how you guys doing tonight?
How you doing?
Where's it going?
Yeah,
So I just kinda made a list of what we're gonna talk about real quick, we can move through it pretty quick.
okay.
Alright, so as of yesterday, fully staffed, 2 paramedic trucks, 1 advanced truck each shift.
Great,
And we got more people applying every day.
yeah.
So we went to the council, they approved the 3rd truck to come on 24, and that has started. So we are maintaining coverage now with the accepted, situations. So we are at this part where we need to be. The truck, and I know John was here for the truck, tribute, so we had a lot of people come out saying they really enjoyed the truck. So the new
Right.
truck is at the station, the veterans truck.
Very
Very
beautiful,
Yeah.
very sharp.
Northeast or North Central Emergency Vehicles is the one that we bought it from. They hurried up their stuff to get it down here. Zinc Sign started on it Sunday. They had it ready for us to come pick up for the stuff.
Yeah.
And we were under budget on the decaling of the truck, so made it kind of nice. Council gave us $340,000. It was which was from our labor return from CARES Act. And we spent $320,000 of that on monitors and the new load system for the new truck. So a new stretcher and 8 new monitors was purchased with that money. That leaves us with $20,000 to the positive that we can use for other projects. One of those is going to be with the new lights in the station. So that way we can be more efficient. A lot of the lights are burning out. A lot of the guts are giving up the ghost. So we're just going to replace all the lights to be cheaper on us for
Okay.
replacement.
I got a question with that,
Yep.
cause I know, well, he's gone now.
Yeah.
For some of those, can we put motions on out there?
Yeah, we already have.
Okay.
Yeah, in all the
I know a lot of
bathrooms.
times there's
Yeah,
people
all the
on.
bathrooms, the garage all has sensors.
Okay.
So we've already done that. And what it is, the ballasts are all wearing out from what they've been on all the time. And then at the rate that we're going through bulbs, it's just cheaper for us to go to the
Yeah.
new stuff. And it's a whole lot more efficient for us. So,
Well, I was just saying, if you're going to that extent, then put the motions on there, so
Yeah.
if they're off and
yeah,
on.
and that's what we've been doing. We actually went through and got a few of those and started that process. So as of yesterday, we entered into agreement with Stryker with money from the COVID project that we're filing for tomorrow. What we did was we bought all the equipment that I'd asked for, $635,000 and some change. Basically, we're getting 75% of that back with COVID, which means the county would be responsible for $159,000. In order to get that stuff before January 1st, due to the money needing to be spent and invoicing, and they could possibly fall into another COVID shutdown, now we went ahead and got that stuff ordered.
Good.
So
Yeah.
that stuff should be hitting here right around Christmas. Spoke with the minister last week, actually went out and watched the sermon, and we resuscitated a minister out at the well, and he spent about a week in the hospital, and he was at the well. I have one of the sermons he did 2 weeks ago. This last week I was out there to shake his hand, and he's very appreciative of MS.
Saw
So,
the picture.
yep, so he's very thankful. We've also had quite a few people in the community with positive reinforcement.
Now,
A lot of comments.
Kyle was right on top of that.
Kyle was there, there was a nurse practitioner there, and there was also an off-duty police officer from Brownstown.
Saved a man's life.
Yep,
Yeah,
he was down for a total of 5 minutes.
thank you.
So by the time me
That's
and
one thing you guys
right,
deserve.
and you know, that's only happened twice in 29 years that I've been on a truck.
Yeah.
So to be there at the right time, at the right moment, it was definitely worth what we've done. The purchase of 16 new radios with the help of the redevelopment money. Also 6 new chairs for the station was purchased. A new program that'll help us for counting our supplies, narcotics, truck maintenance, and resupplying and dating processes when they need to come off. That has been bought with the money from redevelopment. And we still have a few other things that we're gonna be purchasing, but we haven't got the exact numbers yet, so I'll just let you guys know. It will be increasing what we do. We did have one employee terminated, and that went to Human Resources, and also the medical director made the final call on that. So we did have one termination, and we're handling that right now. So just let you guys know. Lexington Fire Department, at redevelopment with John last week, they are needing they're actually needing a rescue truck. So one of the trucks that we're taking out of service, or the next one that will come out of service on the rotation, will be going to them. So you guys will have to, I'll have to have a motion for you guys to accept that to be donated to the Lexington Fire Department.
Talking about an ambulance.
Yes, sir. And they will not have transport capabilities, but they will be using it as their rescue truck. Also, we will be donating with the 16 new radios we purchased. We're going to give 4 radios to them so they can get some people with communication capabilities. And the same thing will go for Vina, Johnson, Finley Township. We'll divide them all out between the departments. And Austin's in that as well. So just letting you know what we're doing with the equipment. We do have, so I would like to make a motion that Lexington Fire Department get that truck when we replace the truck that
Is that
It
all
goes
we
out
need,
there.
is the motion to pass it?
You guys can make the motion for that to be your intentions, and I think we would need an interlocal agreement.
Yeah.
right.
And then also council would probably need to weigh in on that, because they sign all interlocals, because anytime you dispose of a major county asset, you need council on that too. So we need a document that you can approve to have that document drawn up.
That's something Bob will sign, who's got that in a local agreement to do that?
Usually Bob or Josh Digdon writes those up
And
for
you'll
us,
take care of that?
and I can get that going. So Shannon, and then we can do the December 8th.
Right.
with
That's why I'm just starting the process now, that way we can get it going.
So if you wanna move,
Whenever
make a
Bob's ready.
motion to, go ahead and start the interlocal document for
Right.
that.
I'll make the motion to transfer the ambulance and what you're talking about there to the Lexington Fire Department. That's all you need from me now, isn't it? Yeah, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Unanimous.
So what we're dealing with all the other volunteer fire departments in the county. Lexington has 3 tanks. We now lease our tanks because most of our tanks have to be rehydrostated. It costs the same, it costs $35 to rehydrostat them all. It was just cheaper for us to lease. So each fire department, and I'll have to get with Richie at Scottsburg, we're no longer gonna be filling tanks. So we're just gonna be able to switch out tanks. As you guys use them up, we'll switch you out with what we have on the truck.
Talking about O2 tanks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just letting you guys know that we're accounting for how many tanks go to each fire department. That way they have new tanks, because I know like Lexington still has some steel tanks from the 1970s. So we're just trying to update the equipment, and make it cheaper for them to operate. And it's only costing us 28 cents a day per tank. And I think it's 93 cents a month is what we're gonna spend on tanks to reach the fire department. So it's really nothing in our operational budget to cost to do that. Also, we are gonna start restocking the fire department. Some guys have been restocked, some people hadn't been, so we're gonna do it across the county board, for the department bags only. I wanna make that known, all right? We're not
Okay.
stocking everybody's bag under the sun. If Mike shows up, he's not getting anything, so. I'm just teasing Mike.
What and I was gonna ask you about that on the new radios purchased here, and they actually, you're purchasing them, so they belong to EMS.
Correct.
But yet you're gonna pass out to each fire department, and I'm fine with that.
Right.
But let me ask you, on the cost of them radios or whatever, does that take them out of your inventory and, okay.
That takes them out of
Okay.
our inventory and it
So-
allows us to do different things with radios in the future.
Well, okay.
So,
I think who's gonna account for the radios?
So that's what I'm
There's no
wondering.
inventory.
I mean, at that point, you're,
Would they,
I mean-
would they have to turn something into you?
and would that,
Okay.
would that almost, well,
I don't know.
would that almost require an interlocal agreement with each fire department that you're so, I mean, State Board of Accounts somewhere along the line, I think is gonna
Right.
wanna
So
know
you
how,
purchased
what,
it, so
where did
where
these
is that?
transfer to?
Right.
Or where are they?
Yes.
And what we'll do is write down the serial numbers of each one of these radios and what fire department they go to. So
Okay.
we'll be able to track those
So you will
radios.
have a,
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
report to you every year.
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
fine.
but
I
I
would say you,
I think, once you need to break clear of them, once you hand them to them,
Right.
you're done, you don't need to down
Right.
the road find, oh yeah, 20 years from now, you get.
We gotta go back and hunt them down.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
They need to be.
And if they
built
rock,
off of
yeah, if
that.
they go out of service, then we're gonna have to be notified, and that's one of the things will be in the document. Once you guys have used them for their life expectancy, then we need to be notified of where they're at, what's gonna be done to them. So that way we, if nothing else, we'll dispose of them ourselves.
Well,
Just
there's
hand
a
them back
problem
in.
not a few years ago with some
Right.
radios.
Right.
so maybe there's gonna be a document like where they're accepting a donation from the county of a radio maybe or something to that effect, and you all approve the donation. Cause you do,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? Cause
I
you
just,
do
I just
allow
think,
for
I just think
grants.
you gotta have some kind of, you gotta have some kind
'Cause
of
if he buys
tracking.
15 and donates 4,
Yeah, I think
then we're
if you
gonna
take
need
the,
that.
you take the serial numbers off of them, and say, you know, we donated X, and it's in a meeting minutes, I think it's gone.
That will help
like that.
cover
Right.
why
I
they're
think that's gonna
missing.
suffice for
Cause you're
State
over
Board.
disposition of
Yeah,
assets.
for State Board of Accounts, I think that's gonna suffice.
And we
for
will
that.
do that.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right, so needed for approval. Last meeting, I talked about the purchase of a non-transport. Bob, we talked about Hag Ford and we talked about gill straps.
Mhm.
I actually got gill straps to come down on the price again. So they're at $41,147. I'm pursuing that with the COVID grant, which pays for 3/4 of that truck. They actually have it on the lot. They actually had one come in that we were spec'ing. So with your guys' permission, I want to pursue that with the COVID money to make this purchase. Because we're filing it for tomorrow, so just letting you guys know, I need a motion to proceed with that
So
particular
you,
project.
you have the 25%?
Yeah, we will,
And that's provided we're approved for the
right.
FEMA.
You need a motion on every one of these.
Well, what I was gonna try to do is just go through them all, let you guys
Then,
know. Yeah,
If somebody got a problem, we can
right.
pull that one
Right,
out.
right.
Okay.
So what we're also looking at doing is the purchase for remount on a, I think it's a 2012 E450 ambulance. We're gonna re-chassis that box, which that box has been designed to do that. We have 2 more mounts left on that box off the chassis. I received a bid for around $120,000. By the time we put the new radio in it, we're looking at about 130, and that includes striping and stuff to get that project going. I'm gonna go to redevelopment and ask for the 12,000 to get that project started. So just letting you kinda know what's going on with that. I'm just trying to get the project started so we can get the chassis. They can have the chassis here by December 12th for delivery, and then it can go up, take them 90 days when we have the ambulance back. So, also the purchase of a 1999 Chevy 550 Osage ambulance that replaces 1 unit. So the next high mileage unit would be the F450 that we have. I know County Highways showed, or some of the guys down there has some interest in that truck, using it for a maintenance vehicle. It's 4-wheel drive, so I have no problem with that. There again, we're distributing what we have in our fleet to inside the county. Purchase of a 2020 Ford F550 Osage ambulance, that will replace one. So the total at that point would be 5 new trucks, plus 1 truck that we have would be a reserve, so we're up to a total of 6, which is kind of where we need to stay with us running 3 trucks 24. We're gonna have some of these trucks stripped down for the COVID because we're having an increased call with COVID patients, so we wanna make sure that we can keep these trucks stripped and have additional units if we need those.
Let me ask you, I guess my question would be, you got a purchase of a 99?
I was getting ready to ask the
Oh,
same
I'm sorry.
question.
It was a 2019.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
2019. I
'Cause I'm
apologize.
thinking, what would
Well,
you-
hey, you never know. Military government, the military sometimes has
You
some
get a
pretty
good
good
price
deals.
on that one,
I mean, yeah, I mean, if it-
$29.95. Josh and I fixed that one up.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's 20 years old.
Yeah, well,
Why would
hey.
we want that?
it's got a little
We'll
rust on
pass
it.
that on.
Got a little rust on it.
Yeah.
The last thing we're looking at doing is another project, purchase of a 2020 Kubota UTV for rescue and snow removal. So basically, it'll have a snow plow, it'll have a winch for extrication at the front and rear. Also, it'll have a salt unit. And then we're also going to purchase a patient transport module for it. So that way we can use it for the football, both cross countries. If we have somebody out on the trail, hunter goes down out in the woods, we have to use this, we can get in there and get to them. And also use it with the fire department for search and rescue and that kind of stuff. So this is something that we're trying to broaden our horizons on with and free up county highway from plowing our sidewalks and
Okay.
parking lots.
Hey, matter of fact, Josh and I were talking earlier about needing something similar to that, no?
Yeah, and Josh, I sent Josh down to Jacoby's, and what happened was I looked in, they had one left over from last year.
Mhm.
So they discounted it down for EMS. I think it was around a $19,000 piece. I got it for $14,000. It had a few options. It's diesel, has a dump bed on it. They ordered too many snow plows and snow salt spreaders. We got those at a discounted price because they're wanting them out of the warehouse. And then the winch was extra because we did add the winch to it and the mounting brackets. So we actually got pretty lucky on that. And I think the final retail price on that one was $18,500.
So where I'm asking, does Josh use this too, for daily work, or is this just?
No,
something-
just-
Okay, yeah.
No, yeah, and that's why I was explaining that. Josh went down and they give him a different price.
Yeah,
So ours come in a little bit cheaper because it was
okay,
last year's model,
okay.
so. I know it's a lot to take
So
in,
is
right?
this a wish list, or is this a list?
No, this is a list of what we're actually working on with
And-
the different projects.
If, and you're working on this now, and
Yes, sir.
and I know that, and I know Mike asked you a minute ago about the 25% on the, on the F-250 there. If Santa comes down the chimney early here and you get all this, you got the money in place to pay the 25% on
We're
all
looking at
this?
that right now. That's why I'm trying to go forward with it.
Okay.
That way, if I can pull the trigger on it, I will.
You need approval for us just
Just
Then
to
go
pursue
forward.
it,
go
to pursue
forward with
it.
it.
I'm all right.
Pursue with it.
Yeah.
The 2019 Chevy 550, or the 1500 and the 2020 F550 is already built,
Okay.
and that can be delivered within 3 weeks. That's the one good thing about those trucks, we don't have to wait. So, but like I said, this is just,
So those are ambulances.
yeah, everything there is an ambulance except for the non-transport unit. And Jeff Dunn has his new Durango, that we switched out, so
Yeah.
that has been made and that has been done,
Okay.
so.
Well, I make a motion to proceed with it,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. If we ain't stumbling blocks, you'll let us know, right?
Right, yeah, and like I said, I just needed your guys' permission to go, because when I go to redevelopment, they're
I
gonna
don't
ask
know,
me.
need a motion for that, do you? Just,
Yeah, and we'll do one. Mike, will you second on that?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you got the money in place, and that's
Right.
just a, you
Yeah,
know,
that's-
if you run into a part where you can't fund it, then you can't fund it, so.
Right, I
Yeah,
know.
I'll second.
yeah, this is.
Kinda like at home, you gotta start throwing things out.
Yeah,
you
but
know.
I gotta, the government process, I'm just
Yeah.
starting
Yeah,
the
well, I
road
know
work.
you said before
I'll,
there's some FEMA stuff that you were
Right.
doing, so.
I'll make a unanimous, allow him to proceed, like I
So to
said.
kind of add to where he and I, we've got a time scheduled tomorrow to meet. We're gonna hopefully finalize the last details on the FEMA request, because he was able to purchase through his budget that ambulance with the VA markings, memorials on it, and salutes. So, and he's also got a response unit that he's actually adding to that, and we're gonna submit all that to FEMA, and then if he gets approved, he'll have 75% of the truck money, his response unit, plus 75% of the ambulance he'd already paid for. So he's gonna try to get 75% of what he's already spent, plus 75% of something he wants in addition to that.
Currently,
Then flip that again and try to keep working and try to get more of his equipment.
currently, what's the years of the ambulances? How old are the ambulances you?
2013, 2012, 2013, 2014. The 2017 is one that will be going to county highway. It's got 200, it's 173,000 on it. The one Lexington's got, we'll be getting has, I think it's a 2015. It's got 100,000 miles on it, but it's also one of the trucks that had the fuel system deleted on it.
And that would bring me up going to, that I would say this, that, first of all, that was federal law that was broken,
Yes, sir.
when they deleted the.
2 of those
the,
units.
Ecosystem off of them two new, ambulances we got.
Right.
And, just to be honest, somebody could probably go to jail for that. We will not.
You talking
remove
about the deaf system?
The
Yes,
deaf
sir.
systems,
No, I know.
yeah.
No,
And
they're
you
not
cannot,
And you know who did it and
you
everything.
can, yeah, you cannot,
Very much.
you cannot remove them. That is a federal law.
Yes, sir.
And, so at that point, we make sure that that never happens again.
Oh, it's
And
not.
I wanna make clear too, that didn't go through us.
No,
No.
no.
So one of those trucks that got the fuel system deleted on it is sitting at the county highway garage. It's stripped out, ready for the auction. And then some of the tools that was utilized for doing some work out there has been redistributed to the Josh's department.
Okay.
So that stuff's inside the county. So I'll give her a list of what was going to the auction. Josh needed it for the maintenance department, so it was redistributed for that. So that's not gonna happen no more. All OEM stuff stays on these trucks. Not an issue.
I'm glad
Well, I
you-
know there was an issue with fire trucks, for instance, and ambulances, to me, wouldn't be any different. But the deaf systems, when they first put them on emergency vehicles, was shutting the trucks down.
Yeah, cause they can't regenerate.
And they bypassed that because they said, you know, you can't have a fire truck have to shut down and regen because you're running on an emergency service. So, I'm sure, you know, even though DOT and the federal government wants that system to be on there, it's been tweaked somewhat to what the use is and what it isn't.
Apparently you can go through the dealerships to do those, but with us being a government agency, we're not allowed to do that stuff. It has to stay on the trucks. I'm still looking that stuff up to make sure that that's true, but I've had 2 dealerships tell me that that's the case. A private individual can take them off all day long.
Now,
Well,
here's,
it's like a catalytic converter.
Right.
now here's my understanding of that too, because a private citizen did this. And, he had bought, actually, I think this was a 2015, Ford with the regen system, and he just had problems.
Right.
And,
They're all problems.
so he took it off, well, you know, I tell you what, mine's not been, so I can't really say that, but his was. And, but they made it and he took it to not a dealership, outside individual. And the law says that if he ever took that back to the dealership, they have to put it back on before they can,
So,
before he can get it back,
Right.
or they can't work on it.
Gotcha.
So he would, you know, they will not, the dealership would not even work on it no more. So at that point, that's where you gotta look at this and just, you know, hey, you know, if it's
it's
federal law, it's federal law, folks. You know, if it's state law, it's state law. And it's what you gotta follow.
Absolutely.
I know people don't like doing that no more, but that's still the way life
Yeah,
is.
it works.
So, all right, anything else?
Nope, that's pretty much it.
I don't know
guys.
if I have told you this, but I am gonna tell you this, that, I received a phone call and, on you and about you and, no, it was,
Well, I wouldn't.
actually, it was very good, and, I'll just tell you that, actually, the medical director, Dr. Crosdale, called me, and he had nothing but, good things to say, and so I wanted to let you know that, so keep up the good
And
work.
we are working with the hospital, we are hauling patients back from Clark to Scott County. We did enter an agreement with the hospital to do that at Medicare rates. We've also contacted a couple helicopter flight services in the area. So if they have a helicopter and they can't transport, that we can do their MCI transports. And that would not take away from the coverage of the county. So there's another way we can generate money.
Are we getting closer? You know, we talked about when Adam was in there that time, are we getting closer
So-
to getting that?
Yeah,
that won't happen.
that's gonna be spoke about next
Okay,
meeting.
that's what I keep telling. I
Yeah,
know
we're
you're heading
we're
in the
gonna
right
have all the
direction
answers,
with it.
yeah, we're gonna have a lot of answers on that. But yes, the first 2 trucks, if they're out of this county, we are going to maintain coverage in this county. We are not sending all 3 trucks out at the same time.
Well, I get that.
Right.
When do we want that?
However, if there's work trucks in the county, and we have the capabilities of getting them to a different hospital, and they wanna go there, then we will take them. So,
We
that
have a
is
priority.
Well, that's all.
correct,
Yeah, yeah.
correct.
Kind of been the policy,
Right.
but I've been on those scenes where I know that's the only ambulance in town, somebody goes, I wanna go to Seymour, or I wanna go to wherever, and that's not gonna happen.
Right, and then we
But
try to,
the
and we
reason
try
I
to
mention
explain
that
it
is
to
because we're getting more people, more ambulances. It should seem like that would be less of a chance of a problem.
correct,
Yeah.
except for if we hit a peak time, then we're gonna have some issues, so.
That's always been an issue.
Right, and you know as well as I do, you two do, not so much you, but when we get toned out, it seems like we drop 3 or 4 sets of tones for 3 or 4 different runs, and they're all on the opposite end of the county.
Mhm.
So one of the things we're looking at doing is not transporting, deceased bodies anymore for the funeral homes.
Mhm.
Not because we don't want to, but it's because of coverage for the county. I mean, obviously, we can't do nothing for the person that's deceased, so the funeral homes are gonna have
Actually,
to start,
that may,
that's gonna have to come off of their budget a little bit more. I mean, it doesn't help, we do all of them as it is right now, but it's tying up the truck and the crew when we could be doing runs. That's gonna be making a positive effect instead of a negative effect.
Let me ask you, actually, I thought about this the other day, would there be any reason that, like one of these ambulances, that we would redirect it to the coroner?
Well, that's,
it's, well, and that's where I was, when you
There's-
said
there's
that,
a
that's
possibility.
gonna be a situation, because, January 1, we're gonna have a coroner that's not affiliated with with a funeral
Funeral
home. And he's not gonna have a hearse,
right.
and he's not gonna have a Suburban, and he's not gonna have a Cadillac.
And that's
So
why I was
he's-
wanting to get with Lonnie. And I had that set up with Dalton, and I wanted to reach out to Lonnie as well. If they're needing a truck to do that, then I'm willing to give them one of our old trucks to do that.
It may be smart to do something like that. I mean,
Well, it's
I don't
gonna
care if
Well,
they
next
throw,
question
they can
is,
throw
who's
me in the
gonna
bed of a
drive that
pickup
thing?
truck, it don't bother
Lonnie
me.
gonna come out and drive it out
Well,
there?
what they do in and I'm just gonna compare Washington County, they actually had a expedition, and they put a stretcher in the back of that. So what they do is they just take that on the calls when they go on a coroner investigation.
But I'm still going back. Who's gonna drive it? Lonnie's the only person. He's gonna hire somebody to do this?
Well,
or-
that's why he has
Well,
his
he can
deputies.
have deputy, he can have deputy coroners, just like the coroner has now.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, rarely, and I'm talking, I've been doing this a long time, and rarely does the coroner ever leave a facility or a place with the body. Ever.
Right.
So,
Ambulance.
the ambulance always transports them, and the local funeral homes pays, you know,
But he's not, said he's not doing them
I
anymore.
understand that, and that's,
I'm
that's
just- that's
where
where I'm
And there's,
going.
there's gonna be an
and
issue.
to go on with that, there's a few of the county council, I'm not saying all of them, but there has been some things said from the county council that we really shouldn't be doing that anyway, from a hygiene aspect, and because we're not doing any services to them. But it comes back to you guys and goes to them, you guys have to put this other unit on the road, and you have to have drivers that are insured, like the deputies, and the coroner, and it's another vehicle in your rotation, so.
Well, I'd have to disagree with whoever councilman said it's a cleanliness thing. It's, you know, somebody's in a body bag, they're no different than somebody
Well,
else.
I'd say somebody wasn't in the services,
Well,
you know.
the thing is if they've been,
Somebody probably wasn't in the emergency.
He's talking about,
services.
well,
I
they don't know what they're talking about.
Well, that's what I mean. They
I
probably
think
don't
what
know.
we're getting into is if they've been laying out in the field, like we've had some bodies. So we've had some people that went through 3 body bags before.
I have to.
So I think that's where we're getting to with that and
I think we'll have to
decomposition.
address that, because I think, you know, it's not, you know, we're not talking about a funeral home now, we're talking about a county coroner, which is part of county government, and EMS is part of county government too, so we're probably gonna have to figure out something.
And that goes back to having one of these trucks stripped down for the COVID. I mean, we can use that for that.
Yeah.
But we really need to look at doing that as far as.
But I also understand that there's times when an ambulance sits on scene for, you know, several minutes, or even comes back to the scene.
Oh, I've done
and-
both,
And,
so.
and says, hey, you know, we're gonna transport them, so.
Right.
And a lot of times it's courteous,
Right.
it's a courteous thing.
But yeah, we have done both,
Yeah.
so.
All
Your
right,
timer went off.
Sorry.
20 minutes ago, didn't it?
You kept rambling, man. You kept rambling. All right, see you
All right,
guys.
thank you.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you.
All right, anything on your behalf, Mike, that you wanna,
No, I brought it up at the beginning, so.
John? Tammy? I'll entertain a motion.
I got it.
Second,
We're out. Unanimous, thank you.
you wanna start making half of this? In that 2 hours? Sign in, please, right?
I'm all caught up.
No.
No.
Robert?
You just got one, Bob.
I just got one.
You just have one.
I figured you'd be up talking to us.
I don't wanna hear him.
That it? We finally got our map approved for the SOS.
Oh, good.
We're getting closer.
I've been planning on getting back over there again. See ya. Appreciate what you do.
October 14th when I started on the 13th.
Yeah.
Started calling the WTH people for the map. And bring it up.
Tammy, did you turn that off?
And, last Tuesday, got some bombs